Based on an internet legend that refuses to die. A story so disturbing, many believe it must be real. This is the tale of the Russian sleep experiment that in the frozen heart of post-war Russia, behind steel doors and layers of classified files, a group of Soviet scientists was entrusted with a dark and desperate mission, to create the perfect soldier, one who didn't need sleep, didn't feel pain, and never stopped obeying. The method? A stimulant gas, designed to keep subjects awake for 30 days without rest. They selected 5 test subjects, political prisoners labeled as enemies of the people. They were promised freedom if they completed the 30-day trial. Lured by the idea of release, they agreed. But what awaited them behind that sealed chamber door was not freedom. It was a descent into something far more terrifying. The room was airtight. Microphones captured every sound. Thick one-way glass allowed silent observers to watch their every move. Food and water were dispensed through a slot in the wall. And the gas never stopped at first. Everything was uneventful. The first 48 hours passed with normal interactions, mild agitation, pacing. But by day 3, their behavior began to unravel. One subject started talking to himself, while another would laugh for hours without explanation. Conversations became fragmented. Paranoia set in. By the 5th day, the subjects began to accuse each other of plotting escape. Trust vanished. They stopped speaking altogether. Just heavy breathing, occasional scratching, and the sound of pacing, relentless, tireless pacing. Then came the screaming that started with one man. He screamed so violently his vocal cords tore. He collapsed in silence, eyes wide, body shaking. The others didn't respond. They just stared. Then came the silence. Not peace, but something much worse. The kind of silence that presses against your skull like a scream you can't hear. On the 9th day, the researchers did something they weren't supposed to do. They tried to talk to them. Through the intercom, they announced, "We are opening the chamber. Lie on the floor, or you will be shot." A voice answered, barely audible, ragged and hollow, "We no longer want to be freed." The scientists hesitated. Eventually, they released the chamber's gas and opened the door. What they found inside changed everything. One subject was dead. His flesh torn. The others were alive, but unrecognizable. They had torn off their own skin. Muscle exposed. Fingernails broken from scratching walls. Eyes wide open, bloodshot, and, smiling. Some had eviscerated themselves, removing their own organs and arranging them with clinical precision, yet continuing to live, speak, and move. One man had stuffed bits of flesh into the drain to flood the room with blood, and the worst part, none of them had slept. Not once. When medics attempted to remove the survivors, they resisted with inhuman strength, screaming, clawing, biting. One soldier had his throat torn open. Another lost 3 fingers before sedatives were administered. Even under anesthesia, the subjects fought. Their brainwaves didn't register sleep, just chaos. Bursts of energy, as if their minds had shattered into 1,000 screaming fragments. One subject flatlined on the table, only to gasp back to life seconds later, begging for the gas to be turned back on. "You don't understand. Without the gas, we rot. Without it, we forget what we are." When questioned, one survivor whispered a line that has haunted those who dared to listen: "Have you forgotten what waits in your mind when it's truly awake? We are that nightmare. The hunger beneath the dream. The thing that wakes you up sweating at 3 a.m. One doctor, overcome with horror, asked, "What are you?" The subject smiled, a slow, grotesque grin stretched across his torn face, and replied, "We are you. We are the part that pretends to be human. You shut us out with your sleep. But we never left." Unable to control them, the military ordered the chamber destroyed, the survivors executed, and all records erased. Officially, the experiment never happened. The building was demolished. The bodies incinerated. The gas formula sealed in vaults, but the whispers survived. Years later, scraps of reports emerged online. A photo. A redacted document. A scream in the background of a Cold War recording. Some call it creepypasta. Others say it's real, and that similar tests continued in secret. The story plays on our deepest fear, that there's a version of ourselves we've buried, and that it's just waiting to wake up. So the next time you lie awake in the dark, and your mind begins to race, and you feel something watching, remember, sleep doesn't just rest the body. It keeps something locked away, and when sleep dies, maybe we do too.